Hey, I may as well be turning into a health a health advocate and professional at this stage. Look, ladies, parents of teens that are going through this thing called painful periods and endometriosis. So I put a post up on my Facebook and um, and Instagram, and I look. I know that endometriosis is a really, really common thing. Um, I absolutely get it. I understand. But yeah, so we had a whole lot of people saying to me, yes, please share. Like, what are you talking about? So at the age of, I'm definitely going to honor why I'm on here and why I'm talking about this, because I do get it. And what I want is for whoever's listening right now that has suffered from painful periods and from endometriosis, for them to absolutely understand and connect with the fact that I'm not just talking to talk. Like, I understand and I was there. So there's going to be a bit of chopping over here. I may as well be turning into a chef as well on YouTube TV at this point. I'm doing some beautiful fish tonight, and I so need it because it's been a very, very long day. So I had my first period. If I can recall correctly, I'm pretty sure my mum would probably be the best person to talk to, and I probably should have sort of spoken with her before I came on and did this. But I was really, really young. I think I was about 10, and I had extreme bleeding. The pain wasn't so bad, but for me, it was definitely uncomfortable. Which I think, like, a lot of chicks would probably say, or a lot of women would probably say. There are some, like my sister, who literally have to time it on a calendar because it is just all good, and I always envy those people. I was a swimmer in school, and a pretty good swimmer too, and obviously it interfered with that, a whole lot of things. So my first couple of periods, the amount of blood loss was just like unrealistic. I remember waking up one morning and my whole bed, all of my sheets was just full of blood. And you got to remember that for an 11-year-old, it was a huge thing, and exhausted. And so I remember at this really, really young age, sorry, bear with me one sec, guys. At this really, really young age, my mom took me to our family doctor, and he said to my mom, look, like, by the looks of things, sounds of things, let's just see how she goes. It could be just, like, because she's just starting and she's so young, it's all new to the body. And yeah, they just got worse and worse. And so we went back to the doctor, and the family doctor said to my mom, look, I don't know if you've got any other options, but to put Michaela onto the contraceptive pill. And my mom was like, what, at her age? Hell no. And so the difficulties just sort of continued, which I can completely understand. A girl that young being on the contraceptive pill, I probably would have made the exact same choice as a mother. And look, guys, literally, it just got worse and worse and worse for me. So my symptoms would be extremely bloated, extreme pain, extreme clotting, extreme blood loss. Sorry, my eyes are really, really burning right now. Extreme blood loss, extreme cramping, spewing, so vomiting, at the best of times, headaches, but pain that would last for days. Also a lot of irregular bleeding, which got worse and worse the older that I got. Okay. The older that I got, it just got worse and worse and worse. So I remember that the thing about endometriosis is that any doctor will tell you it's extremely hard. The symptomology is extremely, extremely hard to diagnose. And so they basically need a buildup of years of a continuous sort of symptomology until they can actually get you in for scans and sort of kind of see what's going on in there. And for me, it was sort of fluid that was in my internal ovarian, cervix, all of that sort of tunnel area within the vagina. And that's when they were like, okay, so you need to understand, though, that I was So I've been suffering for many, many years, like a debilitating pain. It's disgust. It's disgraceful. I don't even know. You guys that are watching this, obviously you're here because you understand the pain is just something else. Like even to work, you're literally over, and there's only so much work that you can miss as an employee before you're going to lose that job. And let me tell you, I lost a few jobs in my lifetime because of endometriosis, because it is just like, what do you expect the employer to do? And you're just stuck in this space where it's like, okay, like, this is how it is. But I think I had my first surgery after my appendix. I had my appendix surgery around about 21, or 20. So I would have had my first surgery for endometriosis about the age of 22. And they've gone in there, and yes, a lot of they call it endometrium fluid. So it's basically scarring, extreme scarring. And I also had cysts. So I had a lot of cysts that were in the ovarian area. So, okay, like the excruciating pain. And every time that you have this amount of blood loss, it's basically scarring the inner lining of the ovaries, because you literally, like, what is in that lining is there to sort of, because obviously, that like that's built for having a baby, right? And so every time that you're extremely bleeding, you are causing this internal scarring. So any way that I can explain it, the best way that it was explained to me, that made sense anyway. So you're basically producing lesions, or these like really big, so I don't know, scarring cuts. I don't know how else you would want it, but it's just too much blood flow going through there over too long a period of time. So you're literally doing like internal trauma. Okay, so perhaps it is a little bit fitting for this networking site, trauma. Guys, I've come on today, obviously, on my normal platform, speaking about endometriosis. So, but hence I'm here and I'm letting you know. So first surgery. In my first surgery, they inserted the marina, okay, which is two wires that basically sit on each of the ovaries, and they stop you from bleeding. So they stop you from having a period. What you also need to realize is that this is like those things that doctors get to and they're like, we don't want to go there, but we need to. So I had been on the contraceptive pill. I had been on hormones, right? My hormones had been changed. My contraceptive pills had been changed. Everything was just all over the place, including myself. Never mind the mental symptomology that you get. So depression, your hormones are all over the place all the time. You're up and you're down, and you don't know. And at the time, like, I was predominantly living with my father, poor thing. I don't even know he even knew. I don't even think he knew what the heck to do with me. It was like, what the hell, like, snap out of this. But this is all that it was. This is what it was. And so I had that surgery. I had the marina put in. I think I was good for 2 or 3 months. But within that time, I was still spotting. And then I started to get excruciating pain in my stomach. And I went to the doctor. The doctor, did an internal and said to me, look, you need to go to the hospital because the marina is not being accepted by your body and it needs to come out. That in itself was excruciating, because what they literally do, these guys, the gynecologists, and I had two that I'd never met before. So I'm lying there in excruciating pain, so much pain. I had been bleeding again, a couple of clots that were coming out. It was just really, really awful. And the way that they take that out is they basically just like insert, they give you like a pap smear, and the same thing that they use to open up the tunnel of the vagina, that is what they use. And they just go in there, they grab it, and they yank it out. And let me tell you, they tore some of the skin inside, but it's the only way that they get to do it, right? In an emergency scenario, usually, they go in, that cut you, I think anyway, when it's time for it to come out. Because like anything, it's only good for a certain number of years. What we also need to realize is that we are putting literally trauma on the body. We are putting so much trauma on the body because we are, we're stopping a cycle that is meant to be normal and that is, meant to, help you and be part of womanhood. Okay. And, and then lo and behold, I started to find out that with all of the trauma my body was going through, the likelihood of me falling pregnant and having that baby, till it was meant to come out it was something that, might not be for me. And then I heard other things where it was like, what, having a baby is going to cure endometriosis, and so there are all these myths and things like that. And I have spoken to people where it has literally worked, it's been like a life blessing. But this is just so, so common. But literally, guys, you are stopping your body from a natural process. And every single time that you are changed in hormone, changed in contraceptive, you are literally, literally putting your body through trauma. Okay, so this carried on for me, and because that didn't work, they were like, okay, well now, what are we going to do next? So I went back into an even stronger contraceptive pill, and you got to remember the stuff that this is doing to your hormones and to your body is just crazy because everything is changing all the time. Anyway, so after all of this, it was then decided that we are going to put in the Implanon, which is like a little stick that they inject into your arm, okay? And same thing. I think it's a year that's good for. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, like similar type of thing. So cool. Okay, so I had that done. And lo and behold, started bleeding through that. Painful periods again, clotting. But the thing is that I was not even having my period on a monthly basis. It was like coming and then going, and once again, the excruciating pain. Same thing, took that out, put me onto another contraceptive, another hormonal, and literally this went on for years. Now, my last surgery was in March the 3rd. And I had gone in. Bear in mind, I had already had, other issues. So I had fallen pregnant. I had had a miscarriage. There's more stories to that, but we're not going to discuss that on this platform. So, like the likelihood, it was just devastating for me. It was devastating for me. And probably in due accord in some sort of manner, it was probably devastating for the guy that I was with too, suppose in his own way, because there is a story to that too, but we're not, I'm not here to, I definitely think that he would have felt some sort of pain there, it being his child as well. No matter what issues you think someone has, everyone still has feelings. And so, it was like, what do I do? Where do I go from here? And so, so they said to me, look, we want you to go in for another surgery. And, we're going to, and I know women that have had children that have actually then had endometriosis that has occurred after the fact. So once again, everyone is different, okay? By no means am I a health practitioner. By no means am I a gynecologist. By no means I am here letting you guys know what worked for me, okay? So this last surgery, and I'm just like, you know what? I am so over this. So they've gone in, they've looked for the endometrium fluid. Also, bear in mind, though, that my cells had started to change. So I had HPV. I don't know what the fancy name for that is. If you don't know about it, if anyone, more likely than not, if you have endometriosis, you've probably got HPV or some sort of symptomology of HPV. And then what happens is HPV, if you're not careful, can turn into cervical cancer. And when I went for my last pap smear a year ago, it showed signs that my cells were changing, and they were a little bit suspect. And so they give you this, I don't know what they are. They're like antibiotic type things to take. And you have to go back a year later to see if that cell, I just got an email coming through, if those cells have changed or if they're looking worse, etc. And so that was another reason why they wanted to go in, is because these cells had changed and they were definitely looking worse. And there was definitely like suspicion there that, okay, things are really not looking good over here. Bear in mind, guys, okay, I was an extremely heavy smoker from the age of 15. Well, 15, I wasn't that heavy, but I grew into being heavy. So you're talking about someone that was having 40 to 50 cigarettes in a day. Okay. Um, how strong am I now? I have not taken anything. And I take my hat off to those people who can have something to get off cigarettes, because it is the most addictive, hardest thing ever. Okay. I was very self-destructive. I used to have a lot of alcohol abuse, a lot of alcohol, um, drugs, you name it. I've done a lot of things in my life. Now, that's not to say that I don't smoke anymore. If I get extremely stressed or I'm really, really wanting one, I will have one. I'm not going to deny my body that if I'm feeling it. If I have an alcoholic drink, I have one. But you're talking about someone who can go days, weeks now without a cigarette. So that was one of the changes that I had definitely made. What made me make that change was a gynecologist saying to me, look, the way that you're going, the likelihood of you getting cervical cancer is higher than someone who has endometriosis and does not smoke. And I started to go, okay, all right, we want to know something? I've got to start making an effort. I promise you, even like in my skin, I don't even have that foundation on. Like, I don't have the red underneath my eyes anymore. It was affecting, smoking was affecting me in other things, even my chest, I was literally starting to get very, very sick. Anyway, we're on endometriosis, yeah. And so I started to take these steps. Caffeine, sugar, the contraceptive. This is what I did. I'm like, you know what? I'm over this. I have done everything. Before I went into surgery, I was on the strongest pill on the market. Yes, I was 8 kilos lighter than what I am now. That there is the disadvantage, okay? If you're someone who is smoking, there's one or the other thing you can do. You can either give it up, or you can just go to being a social smoker, or whatever that thing is that gives you security for now, and you can work on that. That's the first thing. Please do not fool yourself. So I decided, look, these guys were like, you know what? We're gonna get you in again. My gynecologist rang me up after the surgery. They were like, look, this is what we found. We didn't find any endometrium fluid, but we've taken more of a sample of the internals. I'm going to send those off. We'd like you to come back in 3 months' time. We're going to do another internal. Guys, all of this stuff, the amount of pap smears, the amount of things that are being pushed and prodded into you, the amount of surgeries, the amount of scans, the amount of, come on. And you know what I said? I said, you know what? I'm just going to do this my way. I'm just going to do this my way. I'm going to listen to my body. I'm going to go out, and I've already started researching. And I said this to my gynecologist. I said, look, I've already researched. I know what could potentially work. Let me do this. And she said to me, okay. She said, look, if you're sure, are you sure? And I said to her, yes, I'm sure. Check up with me in 6 months' time. So this was now in April. It's a month later. And before the catch-up call, I had cut the contraceptive pill. I had stopped it altogether. I had one really bad period. Okay. Sugar. I know, I get it. I love my sugar. I love my sweet stuff. I often have cravings. Now, beautiful, beautiful person gave me the advice. Someone who had suffered from cysts in her ovaries, gone through similar things. And I was doing a program with her, and she said to me, have you thought, same thing that she had been through, and what had worked for her was cutting the sugar. And so I was like, you know what? If that is what I have to do, then that is what I have to do. And so I did. So I started to literally cut the sugar. Right. Now, when we say cut the sugar, this is the mistake that we often make. Is I don't know about you guys, but I love my NutriBullets. Okay. And in my NutriBullets, I would have bananas. Right. Now, bananas are very, very high in sugar. So you need to cut out bananas. So it's about research this stuff. So now I have berries, I have yogurts, all natural yogurts. You know, even like coconut water has a lot of sugar in it. Now that does not necessarily mean that every now and then, like tonight, I'm going to have a beautiful macadamia ice cream. Okay, but I'm not doing it every single day. I no longer have any sugar in tea, no sugar in coffee, unless I'm really, really craving it once in a blue moon. That's okay. Once in a blue moon, you can still enjoy yourself. But I basically cut out all sugar because sugar, it is proven, only adds to inflammation in the body. Okay, so you're gonna have to do some stuff here for yourself. Also, I have no caffeine anymore. I drink decaf now all the time, including every now and then I do screw up in my coffee, but more often than not, I do not have any sugar whatsoever, any caffeine, sorry, whatsoever. So there we go, guys. You know, it has definitely been a challenge. It has definitely been a challenge. But when I get this call in the next 3 months, 4 months, geez, time flies, I'm going to say, you know what? Like, so far it's worked. So, guys, try that. Catch a coffee. Oh, and exercise. Exercise is paramount, right? If you cannot do any heavy exercise, I do a lot of weightlifting. I run on the treadmill. You know, I've got like a little home gym setup thing going on over here. So at least 4 times a week, I am active. If you cannot do anything heavy active, then I absolutely appeal to you to get out and walk, whatever it is, but be active. Okay. And these things, so less caffeine if you can try to cut caffeine, much less sugar if you can do it, cut sugar. Stop smoking otherwise, and or cut down to pushing your body so hard that you're only having it when you absolutely need it, sort of like a security thing there. All right, okay, no judgment. I'm there with you. All right, but smoking every day, no, it's a no. You cannot be smoking every single day. All right, give it up. If you cannot control it, give it up. And even I'm still heading to getting rid of the things altogether because they are so freaking bad for us. Now it has been 4 months. I have my period monthly. No pill, no hormones. I have my period monthly. I do not have extreme bleeding. I still do get bloated. But it's very, very minimal. Okay. Right there. I don't even know. I eat really, really well. I have a really, really balanced diet. Obviously, look, since I stopped smoking, I've put on, well, when I initially stopped smoking, I put on 8 kilos. And that is like hard, not smoking very much. I put on 8 kilos. When I stopped the contraceptive pill, I put on another 8 kilos. So all up, I put on about 16 kilos. Okay. The thing is that I'm making beautiful curried fish tonight. The thing is, guys, is that you want to know something, like the weight will come off. The weight will come off. But compared to the excruciating pain I had been through, and yes, I still get a little bit crampy, but it is nothing like I would even get really, really hot. I could not sleep at night. You guys know the agonizing, absolutely agonizing. Still to get a little bit bloated, not hardly any as much. Literally, my period is monthly. I don't clot as much. I don't bleed as much. I feel amazing. So, yeah, give it a try. That is literally all that you can do, is just give it a try and see how you go. Let me know if this works for you. I would love to hear if this works for you. And if you know anyone with endometriosis, share the video, right? Get them to like, comment, whatever. Let us see, like, if this works for us. And if it works for you, please let me know. Let us know in the chat. Like, let's share this stuff, because I know how much time goes into this. I know the rigmarole of changing tablets and hormones and all those things. And it's just one step in a better direction, right? You have nothing to lose. So give it a try. Hope it works, guys. Thank you for listening. And remember, the only downside is you just gain a couple of kilos, okay? Like, yeah, come on. you gotta give it a try. And I hope that it works for you. I really, really do. Bye.